Please subscribe, like and share this video. Thank you for your support.
2 U.S. Code Chapter 30, Operation and Maintenance of Capital Complex. 2 U.S. Code Subchapter 5, Historical Preservation and Fine Arts. 2 U.S. Code Part B, Senate Commission on Art. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 2101, Senate Commission on Art. A establishment there is hereby established a Senate Commission on Art, hereinafter referred to as the Commission, consisting of the President pro tempore of the Senate, the Chairman and ranking minority member of the Committee on Rules and Administration of the Senate, and the majority and minority leaders of the Senate. B. Chairman and Vice Chairman, Quorum, Executive Secretary. The majority leader and minority leader of the Senate shall be the Chairman and Vice Chairman, respectively, of the Commission. 3 members of the Commission shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, except that the Commission may fix a lesser number which shall constitute a quorum for the taking of testimony. The Secretary of the Senate shall be the Executive Secretary of the Commission. 1. C. Appointment of Senate Curator. Assignment of assistants. The Secretary of the Senate shall appoint a Senate Curator approved by the Senate Commission on Art. The Senate Curator shall be an employee of the Secretary of the Senate assigned to assist the Commission. The Secretary of the Senate shall assign additional employees to assist the Commission, and provide such other assistance as the Commission determines necessary. D. Hearings and meetings. The Commission shall be empowered to hold hearings, summon witnesses, administer oaths, employ reporters, request the production of papers and records, take such testimony, and adopt such rules for the conduct of its hearings and meetings, as it deems necessary. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 2102, Duties of Commission. A. In general, the Commission is hereby authorized and directed to supervise, hold, place, protect, and make known all works of art, historical objects, and exhibits within the Senate wing of the United States Capitol, any Senate office buildings, and in all rooms, spaces, and corridors thereof, which are the property of the United States, and in its judgment to accept any works of art, historical objects, or exhibits which may hereafter be offered, given, or devised to the Senate, its committees, and its officers for placement and exhibition in the Senate wing of the Capitol, the Senate office buildings, or in rooms, spaces, or corridors thereof. B. Issuance and publication of regulations. The Commission shall prescribe such regulations as it deems necessary for the care, protection, and placement of such works of art, exhibits, and historical objects in the Senate wing of the Capitol and the Senate office buildings, and for their acceptance on behalf of the Senate, its committees, and officers. Such regulations shall be published in the Congressional Record at such time or times as the Commission may deem necessary for the information of the members of the Senate and the public. C. Consistency of regulations. Regulations authorized by the provisions of Section 2183 of this title to be issued by the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Senate for the protection of the Capitol, and any regulations issued, or activities undertaken, by the Committee on Rules and Administration of the Senate, or the Architect of the Capitol, in carrying out duties relating to the care, preservation, and protection of the Senate wing of the Capitol and the Senate office buildings, shall be consistent with such rules and regulations as the Commission may issue pursuant to subsection B of this section. D. Responsibilities of Committee on Rules and Administration of Senate. The Committee on Rules and Administration of the Senate, in consultation with the Architect of the Capitol and consistent with regulations prescribed by the Commission under subsection B of this section, shall have responsibility for the supervision, protection, and placement of all works of art, historical objects, and exhibits which shall have been accepted on behalf of the Senate by the Commission or acknowledged as United States property by inventory of the Commission, and which may be lodged in the Senate wing of the Capitol or the Senate office buildings by the Commission. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 2103, Supervision and Maintenance of Old Senate Chamber. The Commission shall have responsibility for the supervision and maintenance of the Old Senate Chamber on the principal floor of the Senate wing of the Capitol and of the Old Supreme Court Chamber insofar as each is to be preserved as a patriotic shrine in the Capitol for the benefit of the people of the United States. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 2104, Publication of List of Works of Art, Historical Objects, and Exhibits. The Commission shall, from time to time, but at least once every 10 years, publish as a Senate document a list of all works of art, historical objects, and exhibits currently within the Senate wing of the Capitol and the Senate office buildings, together with their description, location, and with such notes as may be pertinent to their history. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 2105, Authorization of Appropriations. There is hereby authorized to be appropriated out of the contingent fund of the Senate for the expenses of the Commission such amount as may be necessary each fiscal year, to be disbursed by the Secretary of the Senate on vouchers signed by the Executive Secretary of the Commission and approved by the Committee on Rules and Administration of the Senate, provided that no payment shall be made from such appropriation as salary. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 2107, Conservation, Restoration, Replication, or Replacement of Items in United States Senate Collection. A. Use of monies in Senate Contingent Fund effective with the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2006, and each fiscal year thereafter, subject to the approval of the Committee on Appropriations of the Senate. Any unexpended and unobligated funds in the appropriation account for the Secretary of the Senate within the contingent fund of the Senate which have not been withdrawn in accordance with Section 4107 of this title, shall be available for the expenses incurred, without regard to the fiscal year in which incurred, for the purchase of art and historical objects for the United States Senate collection, for exhibits and public education relating to the United States Senate collection, for administrative and transitional expenses of the Senate Commission on Art, and for the conservation, restoration, and replication or replacement, in whole or in part, of works of art, historical objects, documents, or material relating to historical matters for placement or exhibition within the Senate wing of the United States Capitol, any Senate office building, or any room, corridor, or other space therein. In the case of replication or replacement of such works, objects, documents, or material, the funds available under this subsection shall be available for any such works, objects, documents, or material previously contained within the Senate wing of the Capitol, or work, object, document, or material historically accurate. B. United States Senate collection. All such works, objects, documents, or materials referred to in subsection A may be known as the United States Senate collection. C. Approval of disbursements by Chairman or Executive Secretary of Senate Commission on Art. Disbursements for expenses incurred for the purposes in subsection A shall be made upon vouchers approved by the Chairman of the Senate Commission on Art or the Executive Secretary of the Senate Commission on Art. 2 U.S. Code Paragraph 2108, Provisions relating to Senate Commission on Art. A. Authority to acquire and dispose. 1. In general, the Senate Commission on Art, referred to in this section as the Commission, may A. accept gifts of money, and B. acquire, by a gift, purchase, or otherwise, any work of art, historical object, document, or material relating to historical matters, or exhibit, for placement or exhibition in the Senate wing of the Capitol, the Senate office buildings, or in rooms, spaces, or corridors thereof. 2. Accession or disposal. All works of art, historical objects, documents, or material related to historical matters, or exhibits, acquired by the Commission may, as determined by the Commission and after consultation with the Curatorial Advisory Board, B. A. retained for accession to the United States Senate collection or other use, or B. disposed of by sale or other transaction. 3. Omitted. B. Advisory boards. 1. Curatorial Advisory Board. There is established a board which shall be chaired by the Senate Curator. The Curatorial Advisory Board shall provide advice and assistance to the Commission on the acquisition, care, and disposition of items for or within the United States Senate collection, and on such other matters as the Commission determines appropriate. 2. Additional advisory boards. A. In general, the Commission, or the Chairman and Vice Chairman acting jointly on behalf of the Commission and after giving notice to the Commission, may establish one or more additional advisory boards. B. The term of existence for an additional advisory board, I, shall be specified by the Commission but no longer than 4 years, and 2. shall be renewable. C. The purpose of an additional advisory board shall be to provide advice and assistance to the Commission and to further the purposes of the Commission. 3. Appointments. A. In general, subject to subparagraph B, the Curatorial Advisory Board and other advisory boards established by the Commission under paragraph 2 shall be composed of members appointed by the Commission, or the Chairman and Vice Chairman acting jointly on behalf of the Commission and after giving notice to the Commission. B. Applicable rules. Members appointed under subparagraph A, I, shall be appointed from public and private life and shall serve at the pleasure of the Commission, and 2. In the case of individuals appointed to the Curatorial Advisory Board, shall be experts or have significant experience in the field of arts, historic preservation, or other appropriate fields. Each member of the Commission may have appointed to an advisory board created by the Commission at least one individual requested by that member. 4. Members. A member of a board under this subsection A may, at the discretion of the Commission, be reimbursed for actual and necessary expenses incurred in the performance of the official duties of the board from any funds available to the Commission in accordance with applicable Senate regulations for such expenses, and B. shall not, by virtue of such members' service on the board, be deemed to be an officer, employee, or agent of the Senate and may not bind the Senate in any contract or obligation. 5. Terms for additional advisory board members. Members appointed to the other advisory boards created under paragraph 2 shall serve for terms as stated in their appointment, but no longer than a term of 4 years, except that any member may be reappointed upon the expiration of their term. 6. Regulations. The Commission, or the Chairman and Vice Chairman acting jointly on behalf of the Commission and after giving notice to the Commission, in consultation with the Committee on Rules and Administration, may promulgate such regulations governing advisory boards established under this subsection as are necessary to carry out the purposes of this subsection. 7. Assistance. The Executive Secretary of the Commission shall provide assistance to an advisory board as authorized by the Commission. C. Establishment of Senate Preservation Fund. 1. Establishment. There is established in the Treasury a fund, to be known as the Senate Preservation Fund, in this section referred to as the fund, which shall consist of amounts deposited and credited under paragraph 3. 2. Payment of costs. The fund shall be available to the Commission for the payment of acquisition and transaction costs incurred for acquisitions under subsection A, for official activities of any advisory board established under subsection B, for any purposes for which funds from the contingent fund of the Senate may be used under section 2107 of this title, and for expenditures not to exceed $10,000 in any fiscal year, for meals and refreshments and capital facilities in connection with official activities of the Commission or other authorized programs or activities. 3. Deposits, credits, disbursements, and transfers. A. Deposits. The Commission shall deposit in the fund amounts appropriated for use of the fund, gifts of money, and proceeds of transactions under subsection A. B. Credits. The Secretary of the Treasury shall credit to the fund the interest on, and the proceeds from sale or redemption of, obligations held in the fund. C. Disbursements. Disbursements from the fund shall be made on vouchers approved by the Commission and signed by the Executive Secretary of the Commission. D. Transfers. I. In general, the Commission may, for individual conservation or restoration projects estimated to cost greater than $100,000, transfer amounts in the fund to the architect of the Capitol for the cost of conservation or restoration, in whole or in part, by the architect of the Capitol of works of art, historical objects, documents, or material relating to historical matters placed or exhibited, or to be placed or exhibited, within the Senate wing of the United States Capitol or any Senate office building. 2. Availability. Amounts transferred to the architect of the Capitol under Clause I and not subject to return under Clause V shall remain available until expended. 3. Approval and oversight of conservation or restoration. Before authorizing transfers under Clause I, in whole or in part, the Commission, or the Chairman and Vice Chairman acting jointly on behalf of the Commission and after giving notice to the Commission, shall review and approve a conservation or restoration project for which such amounts are intended, referred to in this section as the project. The Commission may require updated reports on the project before any additional amounts are transferred for the project. No disbursements may be made from funds transferred under Clause I that are inconsistent with the project approved by the Commission upon which the relevant transfer is based. IV. Acceptance of donations. The Commission retains the discretion whether or not to approve the acceptance of any donation to the fund, regardless of whether the donation is intended for a conservation or restoration project under Clause I. V. Issuance of guidelines. The Commission may prescribe such guidelines as it deems necessary for the approval and transfer of any amounts under Clause I and the return of any undisbursed amounts. V. Return of unused funds. The Commission may require the return of amounts transferred to the architect of the Capitol under Clause I and not disbursed pursuant to an approved project within 5 years of the transfer. Such amounts will be returned to the fund for use or disposition as the Commission shall determine appropriate. For purposes of this subsection, the Commission may, at any time, specify a date of return greater than 5 years from the transfer. VA. Disbursement and audit responsibility. Once amounts are transferred pursuant to Clause I, disbursements from transferred funds shall be made by the architect of the Capitol upon review of vouchers by the architect of the Capitol and not subject to the audit provisions of Clause 1, C, 6 of this section. Such disbursements shall be limited to purposes for which funds may be disbursed pursuant to this section. VI. Termination. The authority to transfer amounts to the architect of the Capitol under Clause I shall expire 10 years after the date of its initial enactment. Any amounts transferred prior to the termination of authority to transfer may continue to be expended in accordance with this section. 4. Investments. A. In general, the Secretary of the Treasury shall invest any portion of the fund that, as determined by the Commission, is not required to meet current withdrawals. B. Type of obligation. Each investment required by this paragraph shall be made in an interest-bearing obligation of the United States or an obligation guaranteed as to the principal and interest by the United States that, as determined by the Commission, has a maturity suitable for the fund. C. Commission approval. In carrying out this subsection, the Secretary of the Treasury may make such purchases, sales, and redemption of obligations as may be approved by the Commission. 5. Services in support. The Library of Congress shall provide financial management and disbursing services in support to the Commission as may be required and mutually agreed to by the Librarian of Congress and the Executive Secretary of the Commission. 6. Audits. The Comptroller General of the United States shall conduct periodic audits of the Senate Preservation Fund, which shall be conducted at least once every 3 years, unless the Chairman or the ranking member of the Committee on Rules and Administration of the Senate or the Secretary of the Senate requests that an audit be conducted at an earlier date, and shall report the results of each audit to the Commission.